What's up, comic fans? And it's time for that new comic book day haul plus review. So we're gonna get into the books for this week. We got some 50 centers. You know I do little themes, and we're gonna get into it right after this.
Spartans, what is your profession?
Welcome back. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna start off with the 50 centers. Alright, so I hit up the 50 cent warehouse. We got about 50 comics. Came out to actually $22, so a little bit less than 50 cents, alright? When you get up to the 50 book mark, they cut you a deal, $3 off. So that's amazing. Alright, so we're gonna start off with those 50 centers. We got X Factor in now. So X Factor 93, 94, and 95. We're gonna start off with X Factor 93. It says Groupies. I believe Scott Lobdell wrote the plot. It was actually scripted by D. Matthias. You got D. Matthias on this. Art was Paul Ryan and Al Milgrom, right? Did the inks on this book. I believe that's the same creative team on 94. But 94 is pretty cool because it has this insert inside it with a card. So this looked like it was a they had the X-Men game for Sega Genesis, and this was the Hunt for Magneto contest. And you got a card, and you also got a contest. Looks like Scratcher. There's a clue, and you got to give the answer. And I guess whoever won got a complete set of X-Men and Avengers #1, Uncanny X-Men #1, X-Men #1. A lot of those 90 comics #1s that came out, so that was pretty cool. And then last but not least, we have X Factor #95 with Polaris on the cover versus Random. Pretty much the same creative team, except the penciler on this one was different. I think his name is Greg something. So it's Greg Luzniak is the penciler. And then, yeah, Scott Lobdell, D. Matthias, and Al Milgrom also working on this. So there you go. And on the back page, you got Spidey promoting the X-Men, Spider-Man X-Men game. I don't really remember playing a lot of these superhero games when I was a kid. I don't think that was my bag back then. But I also don't think they were very good back then. So yeah, these are the 50 centers, all X Factor books. That was 95, this is 94, and this is 93. Found in the 50 cent bin, bagged and boarded. What a win, what a win. All right, let's get into the rest of the books from this week. So most of these books are from this week. I think 2 or 3 are probably from last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. But for the most part, these books are all from this week. We're starting off with Marvel. Not a lot of Marvel books. We only got 3. And I did not get to read One World Under Doom yet, issue 3. And I haven't read issue 2 yet. Issue 2 is sitting over there on my desk. So when we're done here, on my coffee table actually, we're gonna go finish off One World Under Doom, right? But right now Doom is kind of messing with the Fantastic Four. In issue 2, and I know this because I've been reading other Doom books, or One World Under Doom tie-ins, he takes away the Thing's superpowers, which means he's not made of rock anymore. He's a normal guy, and that kind of breaks him. If you read the Fantastic Four, you can see that at first, I think he was always like, why did this happen to me? And now he's like, what good am I if I'm not the Thing, if I can't save people? So yeah, it's crazy. He tries to, be a hero at certain points, gets shot. Yeah, if you read the Fantastic Four, you'll see the Thing is going through some stuff. All right, next up we have the Superior Avengers. All right, good book. I don't remember everybody who's in this team, but it's like Ghost, Doc Ock, Killmonger. These are all characters from different. They're all from different. I don't know if they're all from the same world or dimension or whatever you want to call it, universe, but they're all not from the 616. But they're brought in by Doctor Doom's adoptive son into this universe to be his superior Avengers. But yeah, that's Abomination, Ghost. I'm not sure who that is back there. I think that's Doc Ock. Yes, that's the Doc Ock of the Superior Avengers. You can see the shadow of the characters they're portraying there. Onslaught and Killmonger. All right, so it was a good read. I wouldn't say it was anything spectacular. What we do know by the end of that book is that the Superior Avengers have their own motives for being in this world, and we know that at least Doc Ock in Ghost World was destroyed by an incursion of some sort. So they're here kind of I'm thinking to get their world back, So we'll see. We'll see where the Superior Avengers go. I don't know if we can get in the next issue, though. I don't know how heavily invested I am in these characters that I've never really met before. And, their plan to bring down Doom. And they say it, too. Like, they're like, we took out Doom in our world, so we can take out Doom in this one. All right, next up, we have The Amazing Spider-Man #2. I kind of like what's happening in this. It's pretty serious right off the bat. All right, Joe Kelly on the book. Pepe Larraz is crushing the artwork inside. Last issue, the Rhino was kind of having a bad day, if you will. His mind seemed to not be of his own control, and then he suffers a heart attack. Spider-Man goes to investigate, Lexi's problem, and then he ends up, I guess, being gassed, if you will, and kind of seeing things and hallucinating and fighting, like the Sinister Six when they're not there. There's a whole scene where he's throwing a Kia and he thinks he's fighting the Sinister Six, and then later he's like, they're like, you must really have a thing against Kias or whatever. But they bring it up like twice during the issue. But it's real good. Spider-Man is not doing so well. And then we have the reappearance of a character called Itsy Bitsy, which was technically somehow it's the daughter of Deadpool and Spider-Man from when Joe Kelly was writing the Deadpool Spider-Man series. But it looks like she is trying to kill the Rhino for whatever reason or purposes. So some interesting things happening in Amazing Spider-Man, and I think it's good. I've said the same thing a couple of times when they rebooted it, but I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now, so not bad. All right, let's pick up the DC books now, and let's go through it. Superman 25. I have not caught up on Superman, so I need to do that. I heard there's some good stuff in Superman 25, so we'll catch up on that. Justice League #6, Justice League Unlimited #6. I also need to catch up on that. Falling behind in my reading. But what we did read was Absolute Wonder Woman #7, and it's an absolutely great comic if you've been reading the series, all right? If you haven't, issue #7 is not a good time to jump in. You will get lost. But Cersei, her mom, is working to get Diana out of hell on a permanent basis. All right, she works with some forces. There's a whole Greek mythology happening in here, Greek Roman mythology. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in here. And Wonder Woman takes on, Hades, and she's basically finds her way out of hell. So, and she was brought into hell because she was never supposed to escape. She does escape to save, Earth, becomes a a great hero back there, and then Hades just kind of sucks her in right after the moment and is like, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be stuck in hell. And this was all part of a plan because they knew that Diana would never be allowed to leave Hades and to leave hell. So pretty cool. Pretty cool issue, pretty cool concept, digging it all. Next up, we got Batman Hush. All right, and yeah, it's good issue. Not Superman. Batman has to save the Joker, you know, because that's what he does. He gets some help to do it from Dr. Tompkins. And yeah, Red Hood doesn't like it, and that's where you see that. We do have Batman doing a thing that he does not do quite often in this. You might imagine if Red Hood's involved, there's some guns in this issue. And yeah, what side is Red Hood on? You know, is he working with Hush? Is he just really mad at Batman? Why do I keep saying Superman? At Batman? I don't know, but you got, you know, Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, part of the original Hush crew. Alex Sinclair is also in there. Scott Williams, that's part of the art team. Overall, solid Batman issue. There is definitely a change in tone from the Batman that Chip Zdarsky was writing to this Batman, but if you're looking for a follow-up on the Hush series, you've got that here, okay? Catwoman number 75. We are still in the past of Selena Kyle when she wasn't known as Selena Kyle, and she was working stealing secrets. It's interesting, right? We're just getting a whole nother portion of Catwoman's life. All right. The cover, I think, is pretty dope on this book. Not even sure who did this cover, but yeah, it's nice. It's got a painted vibe to it if you see it up close, and then from a distance, it's, you know, kind of this poster collage thing going on. Yeah, it's just interesting, especially if you're a fan of the Catwoman, to kind of get this view on her life in the past and now how it's translating to the future, and you know who thinks what. She's got different aliases, so you know, definitely an enjoyable book. I don't know how many people out there would be able to understand what's happening at this moment in time in the book, but I've been reading Catwoman pretty much since issue 1, and I've seen like the whole spectrum of what they can do with Catwoman, and she's pretty versatile, so I'm enjoying it. And there is that whole mystique behind her past, and I think now they're starting to touch on it. So, you know, if you want to dig into the past of Catwoman, go ahead and jump on the series. All right, last from DC, we have Martian Manhunter number 1. This is the first appearance of the White Martian in here. He's hell-bent on destroying the world, one mind at a time, or maybe multiple minds at a time. But it is really fun book. Dennis Camp's doing a really good thing in this book, right? Our main protagonist thinks he's going crazy after being involved in a pretty traumatic event, which involved basically getting blown up. And there was a bombing attempt, and he was in there. But towards the end of the book, I think he starts to realize there's something more happening than just him going crazy. And it's interesting. It's really interesting. So Martian Manhunter, definitely worth a read. I like all the Absolute books, by the way. Absolute Universe, killing it. All right, let's get into the indie books, if you will. We have Image, Rat City number 13. You gotta catch up. We have Gunslinger number 42. You gotta catch up. We have Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger number 5. I'm caught up. It's also, I believe, a Mark Spears cover, or not. I don't know. I can't tell anymore. But Jimmy Palmiotti's on the book. It's good. This is all prequel stuff. This is all gunslinger stuff before he gets sent to the present, right? This is all the past. So this is the gunslinger going out, looking for the baddies, blowing them up, shooting them up. In this one, he is following a carnival, which may have some idea or some ties to what has happened to his sister, right? The gunslinger is all about, one, in this, kind of saving his sister or finding out what happened to his sister. And then when we get to the future gunslinger, it's all about retribution and payback and getting back at those guys who hurt his sister. So yeah, it's, again, good series. Basically in this one, the gunslinger is after a carny who may have ties or know what's happened to his sister. He is basically infested by a demon, right? He needs an exorcism, if you will. So the guy who was kind of good ends up being evil. Whatever, gunslinger kills him, gives the carnival to the carnies. They go on, hopefully, to have a great life. Speaking of Spawn, we also had Medieval Spawn #1 come out this week. This is the Todd McFarlane over Matina cover. So Matina did cover A, did a really dope job, and then McFarlane was like, let me turn this into a black and white cover and kind of, I guess, do pencils over it. So that's what you got here. It's just setting up Medieval. This is Medieval Spawn back in medieval times with his medieval band of merry men going after demons. And that's kind of what it is. It's setting up the world. But that's what you got in that book. You got Medieval Spawn taking shots at medieval demons, which just means demons have been on the earth forever, hundreds of thousands of years. Moving on, we got Images, Assorted Crisis Events, another Dennis Kemp book. This one has, time is melding back and forth. In this one, we get to see a character as he suffers some traumatic events, has some PTSD, and he's thinking back and forth in time as opposed to time changing around him. But then there is a time crisis, and some raptors show up and basically mess everything up. Just eat, devour. And the whole event has to deal with this character dealing with a lot of loss in life, escaping oppression to, live that dream, seeing his dad suffer a really traumatic injury, dies basically, his dad dies, not basically, his dad does die, and then having to deal with that and just becoming numb to all the bad things happen and happen, and eventually you're just like, whatever. But anyway, it's a very thought-provoking book, as you can see, but Assorted Time Crisis is, or Assorted Crisis Events is a really, really top-notch book. Jason Aaron on Bug Wars, issue #3. We got our little dude here, forgetting his name at the moment, Slade. He inherits this amulet, or finds this amulet that turns him into a little dude, but with like superpowers in this whole bug world in his backyard. And he's discovering that his dad, who was at one point had the same amulet and was using it, was considered a god. His dad was murdered by some bugs. He always assumed it was these bugs that were in the backyard, but they're like, no man, your dad was a god to us. We don't know what happened to him or who took him out. But anyway, yeah, it's this kid's journey to, one, find out what happened to his dad, and two, deal with this magical amulet that he's acquired that gives him powers. It makes him small like a bug. Last but not least, we have G.I. Joe #6. This should have been the last issue in this arc. You got Cobra versus Duke. That was a dope fight. The ending, I was like, oh, when I saw the ending. I don't want to give away too much. But there's some stuff going on here, and I'm looking forward to issue 7 in the next arc to see what's happening in G.I. Joe. As you can tell, Cobra's foiled by the Joes. All looked hopeless for the Joes. There's still a lot of indecision as to what this team is capable of and is doing. They were, they were really down here. They lost some some of their guys during the missions, during this arc. So there's a lot happening. But yo, Joe. So the Joes came out on top. A Cobra Commander escaped, and then the ending is like mind blowing. And I was like, yes, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. All right, comic fans, that was my new comic book day haul plus review. So if you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up and comment down below. Do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna get ready for this week's books after reading last week's books. Peace, deuces, we're out.
We out.
We're gonna get into it all right after this.